Peter Gabriel here, off of the Us album, and we're teeing up this song, Digging in the Dirt, because we've got this challenge of going from symptoms to roots in these businesses. I love this song to kind of help illustrate that we've gone too far messing with symptoms. So we just keep messing with symptoms.
Yeah.
The pain, the frustration of an issue. And we never quite get down to the root, as a business owner or as a leadership team. So got this little chorus coming up right here. No, this is the sub-chorus.
Right.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
This is one of my Desert Island albums.
That's right. And I always thought you meant so, but it's us.
Yes.
They're both really good albums, though.
All right, here's the chorus. Here's the theme of our podcast right here. Oh yeah, I love that. Peter Gabriel is amazing, and he's good at just really telling the story.
Oh yeah.
So that's what we're talking about today, is digging down into the roots of issues instead of dealing with the frustration, the pain, the emotion of the symptoms. And we see this all the time with clients. We see this, I see it all the time in other areas as well, other kind of organizations, families, etc. But we've got to get good at figuring out what's actually causing the problem. And as I'm going through the exercise of helping a client go from a symptom to a root and then solving that root issue, I've noticed there are some significant gaps in doing that, or restrictions or potholes along that pathway, perhaps. And that often folks have a really hard time even being able to think about or process what a root is. So they just, all they can really think about is, or all they can see, or the thing that's most visible to them, maybe is the best way to put it, is the symptom, how they feel, what's going on, the pain, the frustration, the history, the opinion. They feel like they've got to talk about how they feel, or talk about what they see, or talk about their opinion, or their angle, or their particular flavor of how they think things ought to go. And they get stuck, and they go in this kind of spinning, spiraling, action that just will literally, I have seen it suck up entire days of a leadership team meeting. So we'll be sitting here with a leadership team, and we'll go rocketing off on some tangent, and it's just people just mad, or people frustrated, or people just spewing their the heat of what they think, or well, I would say how they feel.
Yeah.
Mixed with what they think, but it's a little hard for us humans sometimes to separate how we think and how we feel. Really hard, I think, often for us. And this process of going from this is the problem to this is what's causing the problem to this is what we're going to do about the problem, that process is requires shifting from feeling things to seeing things, to being objective, to getting outside of your emotional, weeds, if you will, and kind of hovering up above the weeds a little bit or a lot, and identifying kind of root causes. So we've got this exercise that I've been working on to help I'm going to use the word help client to figure out, to give them almost like, instead of them having to think about in the moment what the root is, I was thinking like, there's a lot of common roots.
Yeah.
Dozens of them, and they get nested in different ways. And so I've been making this list, and we were joking around this morning. We're calling this scale. It's not a scale. It's a almost like a spin the wheel, kind of like it's almost like a Wheel of Fortune thing or something. It's just a big spinny wheel. At least that's what it looks like. And as I was driving in this morning, I was pondering the areas where roots lie in an organization. And there are a number, at the end of the day, there's this grand root, which is the owner. It is the mother of all roots, right? And so, so to begin with, it is all your fault as the owner at the end of the day. And you might go, well, it's my employees. Yeah, but you hired them, and you manage them, and you lead them, and you cast a vision for them, and you don't train them, and you don't hold them accountable, and you. And it's your business in the first place. You invited them to come in, talk them into it, whatever that is. So at the end of the day, it's you developing everything and delegating or not to others. So, caveat: at the owner is the person that is responsible for everything, because the owner puts people in the leadership team seats. Let's say it's 100 employees at a business, and the owner is maybe not operating the business. That the owner's hired a CEO and a COO and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, well, so it's still the owner's fault at the end of the day, because the owners put the people in place who put the people in place who put the people in place, and it's like the buck has to stop somewhere.
Right.
And at the end of the day, in a privately held business, the buck always stops with the person that owns it. Either they're abdicating, or imagining, or doing a great job. But anyway, so let's start with that. At the root of all issues is the owner. Now, I kind of, as I've been doing this with clients, we've developed this tool called the S.M.A.C.K tool, and it's meant to provide a graphic pathway for a team to follow as they're talking. A color-coded, linear pathway where folks can go, oh, we're in this phase of the conversation now, and we're moving from here's the symptom, or S in S.M.A.C, to, okay, here's what's the root, what's causing it. Let's move back. Let's zoom out, and that's the M, move back in S.M.A.C. And then, all right, well, what are we going to do about it? If this is how I feel or what's happened, and this is what's causing it, well, what are we going to do about it? And that's the third phase in digging up and fixing roots, and that's A as in assemble. So assemble a list of options, a list of possibilities, a list of potentials. It could be good stuff, bad stuff, any stuff, but it's creative, if you will, to go, okay, what do you want to do about it? And then C in S.M.A.C is choose. Well, let's choose from this list. We're not looking at the symptoms anymore. We're not looking at the roots anymore. We're literally looking at the list of things we can do about it, we think, and choosing one or two or three or whatever. We're striking off the bad ones, choosing the good ones. And then finally, the K is kick it, where we're going to take one or more of the items we decided are going to fix the root, and we're delegating, we're kicking it, we're kind of pushing it, passing it, kicking it, whatever you want to say, to somebody on the team, somebody in the business, with accountability. So they have a name attached to a deliverable that has a date, and there we go. And then we look at that, say, if Bob here, or Sven, our guy Sven, if he gets this done by XYZ date, this particular project, Do we think all the symptoms are going to go away eventually from this issue? Yes. Okay, good. Well, now in that process, folks get really stuck, even as I'm facilitating it with them, in identifying roots. They are good at feeling the problem, but they're bad at backing up and saying, wonder what's causing this. It may be this, it may be this, it may be that. They're just bad at getting out of their own world, which isn't terribly, that's very understandable.
Right.
It's hard to get out of our own world. Well, it's impossible. But we have to gain some sort of objectivity as operators in order to see the roots. So this little thing, what are we calling this? The Erodium PU36 space modulator. That's
We borrowed that.
We borrowed it.
Yeah.
So some of those key spots, and I'm gonna break these up into really 4 key spots here. We could slice and dice this, and we're going to, but and there could be dozens here. But as far as keys or kind of buckets of where is the root. First of all, the big bucket is, this is on the leadership team side of things. So I'm going to use the word we. So let's say a leadership team is sitting here, and this again, 100 employees. Let's say it's a $20 million business, and the team is trying to figure out a problem. Well, so as the team, we own a significant portion of the roots. The roots are probably in, or may very well be in, things that we own. Okay, so that's one huge bucket, and we're going to talk about all the kind of splitting that bucket up here in a minute. Another key place where the root may be is they own. So there's a lot of theys, and I'm going to split theys into 3 classes: our people, our vendors, and our customers. Now we could toss this around and slice and dice again and argue about it or whatever, but I'm just generalizing here.
Yeah.
You may put the marketplace in, or maybe our competitors. I don't know. That could be another, I suppose, another bucket in they own. But so in those 4 buckets, we own. 2 buckets, we own and they own. I'm going to break up they. All right. So first of all, let's start with our people. And again, if you take this and kind of write down under these headings, places to look for roots. All right. So we're just going to kind of make a few statements about the potential roots in our people. Now, so you've got a symptom, you've got some issue. I'm going to make one up. Sales are down. Profits down, sales are down. Okay. Why? That's a symptom of something. What is it? So now the team looks at me and I look at them like, hate your business. Figure it out. What's causing this? And so this is meant to go, give me that list, and we'll go down through the list until we figure out which one it might be.
Right.
All right. So we go down through a list called our people. And you might say, we got attitude. And some of these could all fall under this first little batch. Could all fall under maybe core values. Like, do they fit our culture? Okay, so attitude, work ethic, ability or talent, availability. Those all kind of are typical. Talent would be like, are they good at it? In an EOS kind of setting, you could say, get it, want it, capacity.
Right, yeah.
Right people, right seats, all that sort of thing from Jim Collins. But we just can kind of take and break down the 4, 5, or 6 ways that we go, all right, they may own the root to this. So I'm sure we could find 20 little spots there, but those are the big ones. So how they work, think, act, are they good at stuff or not? And if they're not, and that they own that, and so it helps the leadership team to go, oh, well, we can't change them. We have a very limited ability to do anything about that if they own it. Now, we own some parts of that. And this helps to split off, well, what do they own and what do we own? We can only do what we own. Okay, another bucket in they is clients, right? So, there's the client might own, hey, are they the right client? Are they doing what they said they would do? Did they pay their bill? Are they happy or not? Are they doing, doing their part? And there's only a lot of this we own too. It's all of it's very, very interconnected.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But we may have the wrong client, now we own that. But the point is we're trying to go, oh, it's in the client sector here. And then you go, okay, who owns the fact that we have the wrong clients? And just kind of keep unwrapping it until we get to somebody, right? And ultimately, we're going to get to the owner, but the owner's delegated this to somebody. And if they've delegated it correctly to somebody, well, then there's our answer, that somebody owns it. And this is just meant to help eliminate hours of arguing and fussing and griping and complaining and just fix it, will you? Somebody just fix it.
Right.
So we got our people, we got our clients. Another group of them or they is vendors. So we have some other companies that are, I'm going to call them kind of like flying in formation with us. Where they're just kind of they're their own entity, they're doing their own thing, but we're partnering. Like they may be a supplier of some sort, they may be a contractor of some sort. They may send us clients and we send them clients. They may do the second part of the job, and we do the first part of the job, whatever. Maybe a supplier of materials, a very particular supplier that we've been using for 10 years. It could be an HR or a recruiting or a finance component that's outsourced. These are all sorts of vendors that we deal with often, and especially in a business that's at 100 employees or so. There's lots and lots of vendors, 10 or 20. Or more that are intimately connected to the business. Okay, so some of the roots may lie with them, to this issue. Now, so we'll shift over to we, right? And on the we side, like, oh, the roots with me, or us as the leaders. So first, there's what I'm going to call some core truths. So the core truth of the business, as in, what are our core values? Like maybe we don't have core values, or maybe we have bad core values. Maybe, we have the code of the business is incorrect. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here is that as the leaders, owners, operators, it's our job to create the code. And we may have created the wrong code. Like we may have created code that stinks. And also inside of that code, I would say strategy. All right, like how are we going to do this? Like we're in the business of what? We're in a category of one. In what way? What is it that we do that is really unique and really special, and it's our secret sauce to how we deal with competition. How we kind of like become the best of the best. It's through this method or through this idea or strategy. Okay, so we may have a problem there, and we own that. The leadership team owns that. Another one is, I'm going to call this, vision, as in, all right, where are we going? And we may, not have a good one. Well, we own that, okay? We may not have a good sense of purpose or a good kind of why, a good core purpose or core reason to exist. Our reason to exist may be really funky, and that could be a root, and so all this is in our kind of core code. And there's others too we could put in there. And then we could kind of say, all right, well, we have maybe a structure, a core structure. And we may have a root there as in, we have the wrong structure. We have the wrong flow of accountability. We have the wrong code of how the accountability flows through the organization. We may have placed people in those seats at the top of the business that don't do it well. All right. And so I'd go into moving into talent. All right. So it's our job to put talented people that fit our culture, that have the time and energy and willingness and ability and so forth to crush it in that seat. Well, all right. That's our job to put them there. That may be a route. We may be not so good at sitting in that seat, and that could come into all sorts of ways. And honestly, that is I think the actual most common route right there, where the folks sitting at the leadership team table don't belong there. They don't understand what they're doing there. The business has outgrown them at some point. They used to be okay there, but but they're playing a new level of ball game that they did good at the old level of ball game, but not this new one. They can't hack it. Or they're married to somebody, or the son or daughter of somebody, or the parent of somebody, or the cousin of somebody, or the sister or brother of somebody, and it has nothing to do with performance. It has nothing to do with abilities, but nobody has the guts to do anything about it, but there's your route, and sometimes, most of the time, it seems. There could be a communications is a route in this area, as in, all right, how are we going to communicate throughout the organization? And we may have communicated badly. We may have a communication spot that's all funky. Some of these fall under process, but I've got process as a big bucket, as in, all right, here's how we're going to do this, and I'm separating that from systems. So processes as in, here's how we're going to talk, here's how we're going to solve problems, here's how we're going to make this stuff. We got systems that are spitting out information or tying together various, I think of systems as kind of pipes and wires, and processes are more like behaviors or more like actions on our part, kind of like, I would say behaviors. And then, we've got things like how we have meetings, how we make decisions. Those are all kind of part maybe of process. And then, of course, we got systems that, hey, we may have just the wrong software. We may have the wrong hardware. We may have the wrong accounting structure or HR structure or legal structure or whatever. And then there's tangibles. All right. So tangibles are things like buildings, trucks, equipment, literal pieces of gear and they may be wrong. Like we may, or incomplete or not enough or too much or, something. All right. So those are all potential routes. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, you should back up as an owner, operator, and take these buckets, these potential buckets, and draw a big circle and just kind of put the big buckets around the circle and then just start hunting for the chapters in these areas. It's kind of like chapter and verse, so to speak. And like, all right, well, what chapter are we in? Well, we're in the structure chapter. Oh, do we have the right structure? We may not. It's not clear. All right, who owns that? Well, as a owner, if it's a 100 person company and they're operating it, well, it's the owner's job to clarify strategically what the structure is.
Yep.
All right. And I have several times had to kind of help an owner see, gee, that may not be your sweet spot, buddy. You may need to up your game or, well, definitely, you either need to up your game, get used to mediocrity, or hire somebody else to do this. That, I don't know what, or fire, I guess you could fire me, but then you get used to mediocrity.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose there's a few kind of like auxiliary options, but as an operator of this kind of business, there's not a lot of great options if you're sitting in that lead. We see it all the time in sports franchises where there's an owner that is running the thing, and the team's doing really bad, and there's all this culture issue and so forth. And the owner's like down on the field, or messing with the in the locker room. He's in there confusing all the managers and the players and so forth. And all of us fans are like, yeah, that's the owner screwing that up,
right?
Because we have this ultimate objectivity. Like we can't get into the middle of it. We're welded to the outside of it, Anyway, so this is a really simple little tool that is meant to just help you think about where your potential roots are. Now, if you're using the S.M.A.C. tool, this is really that second phase where you're going, okay, let's move back and say, what's causing these symptoms? So you could take, if you're doing this in a big circle, you could take and write your pain or symptom in the middle, I suppose, and say, all right, and so it's like, all right, we're losing money, or we're broke again, or, that one client, we had this $10 million client that was giving us $10 million of work, or our best customer fired us. There goes 50% of our revenue.
Oof.
Like what happened? Yeah. Or what's the cause? And the symptom is like, dang it, we're broke, we're freaking out. Like it's your fault, and everybody's mad. Okay. Well, all right, but what actually caused that? And so you may say, gee, it's the client. The client just decided to stop buying this stuff. Maybe they decided to buy something else. Maybe they're going out of business. Maybe they changed their product line. Okay, so why didn't we know about that before it happened? And whose job was that to figure that out? And sometimes we can't do anything about that. Yeah. However, now somebody's got to pivot, and somebody owns that. And so, all right, so our guy quit. We lost half our revenue. Now what? Like, we can sit here and fight about it, but at some point, we got to get off our rear ends and do something about it. What are we going to do? Yeah. And that's what this is meant to kind of push you towards is, we got the wrong strategy, or, we got the wrong person selling, or, we're selling the wrong thing to the wrong people in the wrong market, or we're selling the right thing to the wrong people, or we're selling the wrong thing to the right people. I don't know. I mean, it's just meant to get you to think about it rather than feel it. Now, so the goal of this is to give folks a multiple choice. I mean, we've got probably here 25 or 30 potential routes. Yeah. But to give them multiple choice. As you're listening to this, you may say, oh, what about this and that? Fine, write it down.
Right.
And send it to us. We'd love to hear what you're
put in the comments.
See what you're thinking. Yeah. So very simply, we're going to develop this out much further. We'll probably have a PDF someday of this to go along with the S.M.A.C. tool. But we're calling this the PU36 Space Modulator. There it is, finding roots. This is a nice, simple little episode today, episode 39. I'm thinking for episode 40, I want to talk about, it's a little dangerous to tee this up because I might change my mind.
Yeah, and you do that.
Yeah, I do that, yeah. I'm going to talk about delegating. I've been talking about that with a number of clients, and that kind of ties into this concept here, as in there's a whole string of delegating that happens throughout an organization, and starting with the owner, and the owner has to get good at delegating, and then it just goes on from there. And I found that folks don't know what they mean by delegate, and it's a kind of a loaded word. And so we're going to talk about that next time, and that ties into this. So there we go. Episode 39 is in the can. Love this Peter Gabriel song about digging in the dirt. So that's it.
Good job.
See you next time.
That was really good.
stick